Good afternoon, team. As you may know, my name is Jordan Ojeda, Force.com developer here at Nubik. Today I'm going to be talking to you about bluecanvas as a tool that can potentially impact positively our release processes by making it faster and easier, and even um, improve our collaborative work. So in order to do that, I'm going to go through this agenda. First, a quick introduction when I'm going to open the theme um, and let you know what Blue Canvas is about. Continuous integration and version controls as concepts that are talked about Blue Canvas, which are important. Then how Blue Canvas works. Basically, I'm gonna give you a demo. Current status of Blue Canvas, other features, and finally a conclusion and a space where you can ask your question, and if I can, I'm going to answer them. So what is Blue Canvas? Well, Blue Canvas, we can consider Blue Canvas a tool that will allow you to, using it, will allow us to push changes directly to our organization by Git. So basically, it integrates two important concepts from the development world, and these concepts are continuous integration and version control. All of it thanks to the fact that it uses Git as a main point of reference, let's say. So when it comes to continuous integration, we can say that, well, continuous integration is a good practice to combine the code development by different developers. All of it taking care about the fact that the code is well combined, so none of the features are affected negatively. When we are talking about version controls, we are talking about the fact that we have a repository, a reliable and centralized repository, so we're gonna have a backup there with the capability to go to a previous version in case we need it. Also, we will never lose our work because of that. So now let's take a look at this concept, but from the Blue Canvas perspective, or let's say what Blue Canvas will do for us when it comes to these two concepts. But let's take a closer look to these two concepts first. So first, continuous integration. Well, as I said, we can consider continuous integration as a development strategy where the code is integrated or combined frequently. And when I say frequently, I mean even more than once in a day. The idea here is precisely to try to avoid a long integration that can be difficult to do, that can include errors, and it can be risky. Also, in this way, we can dedicate more time to develop new features instead of fixing features that used to work and that were broken because of that, because an attempt to integrate something. When it comes to continuous integration, we can talk about also two other different contexts, but related content. Related concepts. And these two concepts are continuous delivery and continuous deployment. So, what are the differences here? Well, continuous delivery is a little bit more than continuous integration, in the sense that in that case we can even deploy to our production organization, but we just don't decide to do it. Basically, maybe because the client just prefer a low rate when it comes to deployment, But the point is that continuous delivery allows to be prepared for every single um, deployment that we could want. Meanwhile, continuous deployment is once when you actually do the deployment, all of it automatically. So in this point we can see like if we have like a change where if you want to provide continuous delivery, you will need to provide first continuous integration. If you want to provide continuous deployment, well, you will need to provide continuous delivery first. So when it comes, let's see what Blue Canvas do for us when it comes to continuous integration. So Blue Canvas basically allows to deploy from from any organization to any other organization. It doesn't matter the direction. So you can deploy from one developeration to a sandbox, or from one sandbox to a production, or even from production to a specific sandbox. So and all of this with just a simple pull request. So we just need to register our organization in the Blue Canvas site, and automatically Blue Canvas will track every single change that can be done in those organizations. So whenever you need to pass your code from one organization to another, just you need to do like what you will do when you want to merge something in Git, basically a pull request. And this is basically because Blue Canvas is based on Git, and this is when comes the concept of version controls. So what Blue Canvas does? Well, basically, whenever you register an organization, Blue Canvas automatically build a Git repository under the hood. So every single change are gonna be tracked there. Even when you do a declarative change in Salesforce, eventually it will be synchronized with those changes. So all the changes you will see it as commits. Also, you are able to push your code, which is actually like the main strategy that I mean it's a main way to work with Blue Canvas. Basically, you do your changes and commit your changes in that Git repository, and Blue Canvas automatically will pull that to the to your organization. So obviously, the use of version control comes with great features. For example, trace of change. Basically, since we are using it, whatever you do, you will have the possibility to go to Blue Canvas and see who did a change and when that change was done. And additionally, the work is never lost because let's say that you are working with another developer, um, and it happens that other developers override your code. Well, that operation will be like a new commit, so you can go back and see the changes and you can merge. So basically your work won't be lost. Rollback capability. Well, if you have Git, you can go back to a previous commit, and since Blue Canvas control the synchronization between that Git repository and the organization, well, basically you will be doing a rollback in the organization as well. And also we can avoid sandbox refresh. For example, since Blue Canvas allows to deploy from one organization to another, for example, we can deploy from production to a sandbox. In that case, we don't need to refresh since we already know what was changed in production. So let's say that we need something to develop something new in our development organization. We need something like a set of custom validation rules or workflows that were done directly on production. In that case, since we already have a Git repository also tracking the production environment, we will know uh, what we will know the changes. We will know that we have kind of, for example, let's say that they were adding like 10 workflow rules new, so we already know them, so we can deploy them easily because we already have the tracking of the changes. So basically we will need to do a pull request from the production environment to our sandbox, so we can avoid a refresh in that way. Also, let's say that you are an expert user, an expert Git user. So since bluecanvas is based on Git, basically you can continue using your Git abilities. You can use any command that you need to use, and bluecanvas will be synchronized with it. Or let's say that in the other hands you don't even know what Git is. In that case, well, bluecanvas provides you an interface that you can use to operate from the beginning to the end with bluecanvas without even put a line of code related to Git, a comment, I mean. So now that we know a little more about bluecanvas, about what it does, let's see how it works. So once well, the first tip is obviously opening an account. Yep. But after that, the first thing to work with bluecanvas is just register your organization. So in order to do that, when you go to the bluecanvas site, you will see like a panel where you can select which kind of organization, which kind of organization do you want to work with. So you will be able to select from development organization or UAT organization or production. Now, as you can see, these are not like type of organization, but they are just for organizing purpose. Basically, you can be putting an organization at development organization in production if you want, or if you can put a new AT organization in production, or a production is a development, even when it's not the ideal thing, because this is just exactly to organize that process and to make the delivery process a little more understandable. But yeah, the first thing that you need to do is just register your organization. In order to do that, you just need to go there and click on one of these buttons depending on the organization that you want to include. Click on one of these buttons, then you will be asked for the branch name and the actual kind of your organization. This branch name is because the methodology that bluecanvas use is that you will have a repository and then branches. One branch will represent one of your organizations. So every organization that you track there will be a branch. So you have to put a branch name here, which we will use in order to identify your organization. Once you do that and select the type of organization that you are working with, you will be asked by your credentials, obviously, and then to allow the application to get access to your organization to track them. Okay, so but let's take a look a little bit about how this works in real life at this moment. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to the bluecanvas site. This, as you can see here, is the blue canvas side. Basically here you can go for the documentation, basically the description, what it does, and open your account. So if I go into the login, I already have my credentials there, so I could get into it. As you can see, here's the panel that I was talking about. Basically here we can see our organization. I already have a couple of them. And also, as you can see, I registered here an UAT when it should be here, but I put it here just to let you know that you can do this is not mandatory. Let's say it is just to keep the flow, let's say, keep the organizations. But yeah, once, let's say that you wanted to register another one, for example here, as you can see, you will need to put your branch name and then select one of them. Once you put your branch, you just need to put your credentials here as expected. But since I already have a couple of them, we can try with them. So, but additional to this tag, we can see that we have some others. So for example, this one, files. In this one, you can see basically the content of your branches. That means the content of your organization. Let's say the Git repository associated with each of your organizations. So basically here you can see my different branches. That means my different organizations. So for example, we are seeing the UAT, the ones that I have for development. So here is basically like a folder. You can go through each folder that you can see here and see your contents. This is important because you can see if one change has been synchronized with this repository or not. Besides this tag, we have the activities where we can see every single activity related to that branch, actually related to the repo. Not only the commits, but also if you did something like a deployment here, like a pull request or something like that, you will be able to see it here. You can even load orders, something like that. Here, as you can see, is the creation from the last operation that I did. Beside that, we have the compare features, where you will be able to see the difference between one branch and another, and at the end you will need to do that in order to do a deployment. And the first thing that you need to do to a deployment is, well, a comparison. So let's see how it works. I'm going to do a change here to see if we can see the change in the activity, and even here also we can do a deployment between these two organizations to see how it works, this part. So I'm gonna open my organization. I already have opened it. So I'm gonna, for simplicity, I'm gonna do a simple change. It could be like I'm gonna add a field here in opportunities, for example. Let's say I'm gonna add a text. I'm gonna put this blue canvas, something like that. Could be 100. Next. That's okay. Save. Great. So this is one of the ways to operate with bluecanvas. Let's go back to bluecanvas. Eventually, the change will be synchronized with this repository. As I said, it's one way because Another way is just to push your change. Let's say that, for example, if you are working in your code here, you can do one change, you can do your change, like I don't know, 6, and then go here to the changes and just welcome your change. I already have my commit there. Nevertheless, at this point, since as you may notice this isn't beta yet, we are not allowed to push at this moment, but we will be allowed. So at this moment, the change that I'm gonna see here is the one that I did directly in the organization. So let's see if we already have that change there. As you can see, I think it's this one. Change layout and object. Let's see the actual change here. And as you can see, we can see the new fields automatically tracked here. And I didn't have to do anything. It was automatically synchronized with my change in the organization. So yeah, basically once we have done that, we have that change there. Let's say that we wanted to deploy. By the way, this, if you want this at this moment, you need to ask them, but it's just because it's in beta, so no problem there. So okay, let's see first a comparison, because we need to do a comparison before doing the deployment. So in order to do that, I'm going to select my target organization here, or well, yeah, it's gonna be our production, and then I'm gonna select here, well, I already have selected the UAT, and then I'm gonna go to compare. Okay, let's select it again. This is a meta, so sometimes it fails. Compare. Refresh. Okay, so we have our change, okay, our target organization and our source organization here. Let's try it again, compare. Okay, finally, as I said, this is in beta, so sometimes it happens, things like that, but it's just because it's in beta. So okay, but now that we have our comparison, we can see the differences between them. Great, so now as you can see, we can do a pull request here, basically. Put something like this in. Okay, save. Wait a little bit. And as you can see, it's preparing the change, basically preparing the deployment here automatically. So this is basically to include automation to this kind of process. The idea behind the blue canvas, behind blue canvas is try to make this process faster, allowing you to do a pull request instead of go and build your chain set. Um, Basically here you already have the chain set already built because you have that repository tracking your changes. So when you go there, you want to do a deployment, you will have your changes there. So you need to put you need to go and do a pull request. Obviously, it happens that sometimes you can deploy something and no other features. So in that way, because of that, they provide the ability to select which change you want to deploy. That we will see, that feature we will see in a moment. I refresh this. Nice, thank you. Also, you can see here, for example, if you did a deployment, you can see here. If you have a pending deploy, something pending to deploy, you can see here. Also, now we can see that it's preparing. It takes okay. Now we have some errors in validation. So let's see what happened. Let's execute some file because we want to deploy so just our change. So in that case, it's gonna be it's necessary icon object test class. It's not what we want. Okay, so now we are done. We selected our changes. Let's try it again. Again, thank you. Again, this is still beta, so sometimes it has this kind of errors and things like that. Also, the important part here is that since our development is, we can communicate our requirements, and probably some of them are developed. Who knows? Refresh. Okay, well, in the meantime, we can continue with. We can show you actually some other features. For example, the fact that you can, as I said, the fact that you can deploy, you can get that Git repository and just to have a local copy, so you can, whenever you want, you can do a change there and commit it. Also, you can activate mirroring, so you can have a copy of your repository and in, for example, GitLab or something like that. Let's see how it goes. Is it waiting? Well, let's continue with this and then we can check the result there. Okay, so now as you could see, the application is in beta. That means that some of the features are not completely done. Basically, they are working on them. For example, the ability to deploy changes, as you could see, is still in deployment. In development. In fact, you will be able to, you have to ask them, as I did, so you can use it temporarily. Um, Also, you will be able to be there for a limited time of period at this moment. Again, this is beta. No price information. You cannot delete changes. You cannot delete uh, developer organizations, actually branches. I mean, and you cannot push changes yet, as you as I said. Um, Also, it happens that some metadata are not supported yet, even though when they say that they want to support every single metadata provided by Salesforce, we have some like profiles, permission set, reports, installed packages, and things like that are not supported at this moment, basically because they need special attention since they are not treated, they are not, I mean, all of them are has different strategies to tackle them. For example, profiles, documents, all of them are not like simple objects from Salesforce. And yeah, so we have that limitation because it's still in beta, it's still in development. Now let's see other features that are gonna be included in bluecanvas. So for example, what happened when you want to do a refreshment? I mean, sometimes even when you with bluecanvas are able to track the changes in the development organization, I mean in the production organization, sometimes it happens that you want to, let's say, refresh your sample because I don't know, maybe you have a lot of time without using it and you want to make sure that all the changes, every single change uh, has been, I mean, let's say that you wanted to start a new development in a sandbox, so you want to make sure that all the changes in production are there, and also maybe you have data that you don't need anymore, so you want to refresh it to have a clear version of the production organization. So that is possible. The only thing that you need to do after that with bluecanvas is just to uh, reconnect it. So in that case, you will see like a red flag, a red uh, a red icon where you need to click on it, and then you will be asked for the credentials again. So basically, it's like the same process that you did for register that organization. Also, the bluecanvas team wants to support Salesforce DX. Basically, their plan is, since even when Salesforce DX encourage the deployment based on a source, I mean, from something like a Git again, in the same way, and it certainly is fast, like faster than the standard behavior. They say that even in that way, you will need to care about the changes. I mean, you will need to build uh, your deployment, and this is something that bluecanvas does automatically. So they can take advantage of the new structure to do that as well as as bluecanvas does with a normal organization. Customizable tracking, and bluecanvas team say that in the future you will be able to track whatever you need to track. I mean, at this moment you will have like a static file, basically because you cannot push it at this moment, but in the future we'll be able to change that file, or maybe they could provide any other alternative to do to specify what you need to track. Also, an interesting one is about the repository mirroring. Basically, because we are using these kind of things with GitLab. Here, the thing is that you can maintain a copy of your repository of that repository in your third app. For example, it could be like GitLab, it could be GitHub, it could be Bitbucket, or any other manager of your source. And so by doing this, by this feature, you will see that this repository, this copy, will be also synchronized with the repository from bluecanvas. So that means basically you will be able to see all the last state of your organization there, since bluecanvas is in charge of that synchronization from the organization to that sample, to that Git repository, and then from that Git repository to your local copy. Let's see, by the way, if we now could see the change, it should be done now, just to finish the demo part. Okay, as you can see, it's validated, and now we can just quit deploy. It's deploying, and then we can check our organization, our production organization, to see if we can see our change there. Still deploying. It takes a while, yes. Yes, I think I have an organization. Yeah, this is my sample, my production organization. So I'm gonna go to, oops, object definition. Let's see, count. Let's see the status. Still deploying. And it's taking a while. So let's go back to our presentation, and finally I'm going to show you the result. So, conclusion, basically, we have an application there that provide us continuous integration features, like for example the fact that you can deploy from one organization to another with just a pull request. We have interesting other features like mirroring support, especially because we use that kind of features. Like we have the GitLab, and we have our repositories there, so we can have always synchronized a copy of our organization, so we don't need to do that commit manually, those commit manually, basically because they provide automatic source control management. Now at this moment, this provides us good thing, but at this moment we are using some other tools that could let's say overlap in some features, like for example Welkin plus Yearset provide us something similar, but I will keep an eye on bluecanvas because it also includes some interesting features, like for example, as I said, the automatic source control is amazing to me because you don't need to care about it. It's automatically, you will have always a copy there in even your local in GitLab, thanks to the mirroring feature, and in that way that process could be easier for us, and always there, it will be always there. It won't happen that you will find a organization without that Git repository. So in that case, we can make sure that all that we have always that backup, so we won't lose work. Additionally, because every single change is also a commit, and something again is that still in beta, so we don't know about pricing, we don't know about possible future uh, improvement, future new features, something like that. But I would say it would be great just to keep an eye to see how it evolves. So, well, now it's time to you to speak. Let me know if you have any questions. You can use, I guess, the comment below or the chat, I guess. Or if you need, I don't know, maybe further explanation, just knock my door. Let me know. Thanks for your time. Bye.